Okay. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hello.
Hey.
This is the Talkback portion. I'm Killian.
Vikki.
And I'm Riley.
Yeah. I played. Oh Jesus.
Do you need me to say the number?
No, I played 1083037115. Who apparently also has an actual name that I do not remember.
Frank something.
Frank
Yes.
Smith. Frank Smith. There we go.
Stop. His last name is Smith.
Yeah, it's Frank
Yeah.
Smith. Yeah, so I played Frank Smith.
I was the guard and lieutenant.
And I just chose and directed the piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Riley, you can lead us because you're the director.
Yeah, so I found this one online. I was looking for, obviously, something sort of spooky. This is very different from the usual radio plays that we do. Usually we go like very supernatural horror, that kind of thing, where this was a lot more kind of dystopian sci-fi. Like, this felt like something I would have read in my middle school or high school English class with like Brave New World and 1984 and all those. Because it's, an alternate timeline where 400 years from now, we're all just numbers and useless to society if we don't contribute productively, as the lieutenant says. But I just thought this one was really cool because it was written futuristically. It didn't sound dated. Like, it didn't really sound like it was written in 1964, at least to me. But yeah, I just thought it had a nice message. Anyone else?
No. I think it's interesting that you bring up 1984 and stuff like that. I actually felt like, as I was reading it and as I was performing it today, I felt very much that this felt like a Ray Bradbury short story. It felt like something Ray Bradbury would have written. Okay, well, with one caveat, there are a couple plot holes in this that don't make a lot of sense, and Ray Bradbury wouldn't have allowed that to happen because Ray Bradbury is Ray fucking Bradbury.
Yeah.
But still, it also reminded me, I'm not a huge Rush fan, except for the song 2112 by Rush. And it reminded me a little bit of that with like the technocracy and like, if you're not, if you're an artist, you're not helpful to society and you'll be, gotten rid of and this whole sort of thing. Like, it's, reminded me a little bit of that. Yeah, I liked it. As you were saying, it is very different than a lot of the other stuff that we've done. But I liked it. It's kind of chilling. It's a little bit hopeful at the end. There's a level of sweetness to it by the end. Yeah, I like it. What about you, Vikki?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to, sorry, it reminded me of this short story I've read years ago about how it's like another futuristic society thing where, instead of like this one where they decide, if you're a poet, if you're an artist, or any sort of profession that's not like an engineer or mathematician, you're dead. It reminded me of one where, in this one, everyone is the same. Like, everyone has the same attributes. So, like, let's say you're a ballerina. They would have you, if you could leap higher than the other ballerinas, they would add, like, weights to your feet. So you danced and leaped the same as everyone else.
And then you took them off, and you were a fucking Super Saiyan.
Yeah, no, but it's called, looked it up, it's by Harrison Bergeron, and it's Once Utopia.
Is that the one with the guy that tries to lead the rebellion on the TV thing?
Yes, it's that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes! Oh my god!
And like his parents watch him die or something from TV, I think.
It's called, and I just butchered it, it's called Harrison Bergeron, and it's by Kurt Vonnegut Jr.
Oh, it's by Kurt Vonnegut's son. Okay,
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, it's by his son. I always just assumed it was by Kurt Vonnegut. Huh.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite sci-fi short stories in general. It's just one of the coolest.
It's great.
It's very good. And it's great because, like, you said it, and as you were talking, I was like, I know what Vicky's talking about. And then Riley's like, yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm. We read it sophomore year English class, and it's always kind of stuck with me.
I think it was sophomore year for me as well in English class. So good. I was one of the weird kids that liked reading in English class. Everyone's like, "No, this is stupid," and I'm like, "This fucking rocks."
Yeah.
All these stories are great, and like I even liked the Odyssey, although Odysseus can eat a bag of dicks.
He's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the worst, but the story is really fun. It takes.
I think the middle school book that I read that I equated this play to the most was The Giver. And if nothing else, just for the part where I can't remember why, but like if there's a certain thing about either a child that's born or just a person in general, they'll like kill them. And that's kind of what this one reminded me of. Like if you don't fit the mold of what they want in a society, then like you're just gone. You're just done.
Yeah.
It's also kind of a little bit, just that whole, we're picking who lives, who dies, the lottery, if you guys know that one.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, we did it. We found the person with the biggest dick in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Big Dick Willie.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's like the lottery. Shirley Jackson.
Yes.
The lottery. Who Shirley Jackson is one of the greatest horror authors of all time. She's so good. Like everything she wrote. Hill House, The Lottery, The Witch. Like there's a short story she wrote called The Witch. That's just really good. Everything is she's so good. We've Always Lived in the Castle.
I have that. I haven't read it yet.
Yep. She actually has this really interesting... Somebody asked her about, like, writing horror, and she goes, well, because I don't... She's like, I don't start from a place of horror. She goes, I start by writing characters and stories that make you care about the characters, and then I put the characters in gravely dangerous situations. And she's like, and that's where the horror comes from. Because you care about them, and you want them to survive, but bad things are happening. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
I guess one thing I want to ask Killian, what was it like having a entire few-minute conversation with yourself?
Normal?
Yeah. No, because, as you could probably tell, it was just me and Killian, recording for these 4 characters, and...
Yeah, I forgot a whole ass character that I played. I played the old man.
Yeah.
Again.
And, like, for me, it was easy enough because there were so many different parts happening between the guard and the lieutenant that was easier for me to, easy for me to switch. But when it was Frank...
Yeah, they never spoke to each other.
They never spoke to each other. But when it was Frank and the old guard, I need you to understand, I was just sitting in a chair, waiting till I had to come back for the guard, and that was just all Killian on the mic, just not even giving himself a break, just switching from, like, that one voice to another. So what was it like?
I mean, fun. It was fun. The timbre that I gave the old man was, as you listeners at home might hear, very different from my normal speaking voice. So, like, it was just a lot of, like, trying to find the right placement and then, like, getting closer to the mic and then, like, doing that whole thing. But it was interesting to, like, have a conversation with myself as 2 different characters. And, like, try to do it in real time. I know I didn't have to. Riley was like, oh, no, you can take a moment, like, or, you can record all the old man's lines separate and then do that whole thing. And I thought about doing that, but then I didn't. And so...
I'm glad you said it, because I wanted it on the record that even though I cast you as those 2 characters, I wasn't going to make you do them back to back. That was your choice.
Yeah, I don't even know how it sounded. Like, we haven't even listened to it. I can't hear myself when I'm doing it. So I have no idea if it sounded like 2 different people talking or if it sounded like one person having a schizophrenic conversation with themselves.
I mean, to me in the room, sounded like they were different, or at least that they were supposed to be different, so...
Well, there's a world of difference between it sounded like they were different and that they were supposed to be different. But we'll find out. We'll learn together, audience.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time you've heard this, you will have already known, and then I will either be an idiot or not. But yeah.
We'll find out.
Yeah, but no, in answer to your question, it was fun. It was interesting. Yeah. Riley, turning it back over to you.
Oh, do we want to talk about plot holes?
Yeah, sure.
And how even though this play has a great meaning, don't think too hard about the logistics of some of it.
No, not at all.
I mean, honestly, for like you say, plot holes, and for me, I didn't really see any. Like, it seemed a lot of it was stuff that happened off the story, but that didn't bother me.
I'm definitely using the wrong term. Instead of plot holes, they're just kind of questions, or like, just like queries that the plot brings up for what happens later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, such as if he does leave and he gets out, which it seems that he does, what then? Like, he's...
Yeah, like, does he go around with
pen on his
pretending
head?
with pen on his head for the rest of forever? Does he live underground? Does he just go back to normal society with his normal number because no one except, I guess, these people know that he's supposed to be alive? Why is he visiting the old man's daughter just to... I mean, obviously to tell her that he's dead now.
Oh,
but...
that's gotta be, yeah, you're right. That's actually gotta be an awkward conversation. She just opened up the door and he's there and he's like, hey, you know your dad. He's dead now, and I took his place. What's up?
I'm your dad now.
Yeah. Like, in society, I guess I'm your dad now, but also your daughter's a poet, and I'm a poet.
So,
we cool now?
Now kiss.
Yeah, your dad told me that implied that I needed to get with your daughter. This is a weird conversation to have. Also, he's dead now.
Also, the daughter, because the dude's 110. His daughter would probably be like 80.
Yeah.
90.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know what happens afterwards. It's very much like, oh, this is sweet. And then you go, but what happens next? Because what happens next is almost more interesting than what we've just heard. What happens next is the plot of Logan's Run.
I was also curious because I forgot originally that he mentions the holes in the glass for the gas that kills you. So I thought that when he was going to be terminated or whatever, they were going to like go into a cell and take him to somewhere else, like it happens in actual jail where they like take you to an execution room. But so I was like, what happens when someone other than the drugged up guard goes in there and realizes it's now an old ass man with the wrong numbers on his head? But they're not really gonna find that out till after he's dead, so.
Yeah, I really would like to see what like the next bit of this story is. That would be interesting. It just makes me have questions. Also, he's a shitty poet. Like, the bit of poetry that, like, he reads at some point that the old man really likes, it starts with a rhyme scheme, and then breaks the rhyme scheme to just have a long 2 sentences afterward. And I was reading it, and I was like, this is bad poetry.
God, that would have been great if he was like, you're killing me for being a poet. And the lieutenant's just like, no, I'm killing you for being a bad poet.
He's like, if it was particularly good poetry, we might let it pass.
If you were Dr. Seuss, we would make an exception, but...
Of all people. Dr. Seuss. Not
and at
like...
this time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's canceled now, yeah.
Some would say that life canceled him a long time ago.
Yeah.
But
Ouch.
yeah. But, like, you know, there's, like, Shel Silverstein, or Emily Dickinson, or Edgar Allan Poe, or so many different people. But no, Dr. Seuss is the person you thought of when you thought poetry. Which makes me... It makes me happy somewhere, like, deep inside. That's your poetry. Dr. Seuss. But yeah, no, it definitely... Don't think about the plot of this for too long.
Mm-mm.
It'll hurt.
Just think about the message and those last 2 lines of bad poetry and what your point to having lived is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And if you think that this has plot holes, just go back and re-listen to the end of The Shadow People and be reminded...
No.
The one singular candle.
I have
That was
a
okay.
candle.
The Shadow People was the only other play that I've directed so far, so little offended that all of mine have plot holes.
Listen, you're not the one who wrote them, but you are certainly the one who picked them.
Yeah.
That's fair. Well, I did pick some of the other ones too, so. Well, I was just thinking about how, Killian, you said that those last 2 lines of poetry were bad. I actually really liked them.
No, I like them in a vacuum. But, like, within the lines of poetry, like, okay, here, let me pull this up.
Yeah, read the whole thing, because I don't quite remember what it sounds like in context.
Is it the very, very last poem?
Yeah, it's the whole thing here. Let me... Okay. So here's the whole poem. In the monumental silence of a long and pointless strife, I am pained at my reluctance to let go this last of life. We're good. I only ask the place and time enough to give some small meaning to the meaningless and point to having lived. That's not... like, it's a good line by itself.
It works. The way you read it, it fits in the same rhythm.
It doesn't seem like it scans, and it also breaks the rhyme scheme. Like, he sets up a rhyme scheme in the first bit, and then immediately breaks it for a longer 2-sentence combination that doesn't rhyme. And I'm just like,
it's more of an internal rhyme, because it was give
and lived.
Some point to the meaningless and point to having lived.
It's a stretch.
The rhythm you read it in made it sound like an actual, like, decent meter and a rhyme that worked. At least to me.
This is my superpower. I can read shitty poetry and it sounds like it's good.
You're like the heart of Captain Planet. You know that one kid, like, they have all, like, cool powers, and then there's heart.
Yeah. Well, it was nice working with you, Vikki. Audience, this is going to be the last time Vikki shows up, because she just told me that I was, like, the heart kid from Captain Planet.
Wow.
Because you said your shitty superpowers, you can read shitty poems.
Yeah, no, I get it. It just means that now I have to kill you.
Alright. Well, it's been great being here.
Yeah. Don't lie, you're a millennial. It's not great for any of us.
True.
Oof.
Yeah, Vikki, what was it like playing a drugged up guard?
Honestly, that one was harder than the lieutenant, just because for, the guard, they were talking about how she was kind of drugged out and very monotone. Turns out it is very hard to be monotone. At least for me. Like, if you know me in real life, I'm basically a human Muppet. So to tone that all... Yeah. So to tone that all down was hard. And then, for me, what I kind of tried to base at least the voice on was, like, Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter. That's kind of like what I was sort of... trying to go for. Like, more monotone from that, but that's sort of like... ooh, like that kind of...
Can you do that for me one more time?
But just, let me look at the script real quick.
Request denied.
But it was just hard to try to tone myself down for that. Hopefully it came out good, though.
It was garbage.
It's complete crap, but here, let me find like a line of hers. Something like, I said, how's it going? Everything quiet? It's hard for me, basically being a human Muppet, to try to figure out how to make that work. Hopefully in the recording, it did. And the Lieutenant wasn't as hard, just because the Lieutenant, I used more of like my natural voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then for that, at first I tried to watch like, you know, courtroom proceedings that you would see on like CCTV or something. And turns out, unless an actual fight happened on them, they're incredibly boring. And so then for that one, I just tried to, not spoiling WandaVision, but if you know Monica Rambeau, that kind of sort of powerful voice is what I was trying to go for.
I thought you were going to say that you instead watched a buttload of Judge Judy, and...
Judge Judy would have been great, too, yeah.
Yeah. Riley, what was it like to voice the part of the director?
Yeah.
Oh, it was so interesting, you know? She just, you know, was a lot more demanding than I usually am, and, although not quite as nitpicky, I will say. I'm usually, I don't know. I'm stopping this bit because I'm not good at keeping it. But directing, it was fun.
Killian, was it hard to voice another old man?
No. It was interesting because normally whenever I just have like the like back pocket funny old man voice. They're like, oh well, we're gonna go and hit some babies and vote for people who want to kill the planet. Woo! Like stuff like that. And that is not what we wanted for this. So I had to like go and combine a couple of my other character voices and try to come up with something that like fit the bill of like a 110-year-old man that isn't like funny.
Yeah, I really wanted, you know, the vibe of those older people who just like they haven't given up, but they're just so at peace, kind of, and they're just like their voices are so kind of chill and like a little breathy, and
They're just ready to die.
Yeah.
kind of, but like they could be talking to someone who's panicking, and they're just like, whatever, it's okay, like you're gonna be fine.
I lived through the Depression.
Yeah.
I felt a little like Eeyore.
Yeah, kinda. Less, I think, clinically depressed. More.
Yeah.
See, that's the joke. That's the real joke here, is that as an actor, I played a character who was less clinically depressed.
Hey.
Yeah, no, it was fun to play another old man and to like actually like take it seriously and not try to like be a little bit of a caricature of an old person. And like take it more seriously than Sorry Wrong Number, because like Sorry Wrong Number, I did take him seriously, but he is the worst.
Oh yeah, like that was, you weren't really supposed to like him.
Oh, not at all.
No. But yeah, no, so this one was fun. It was different, but it was fun. Speaking at like at least half an octave lower than my normal speaking tone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was that. I don't have any stories that like from my personal life that this reminds me of, because normally this is about the time that we start talking about like, oh, I have this one story that was like this or this other story. As it turns out, I've never been imprisoned in a futuristic prison and had an old man swap his life for mine while writing on my forehead. Nothing like that has ever happened to me at all. I was never Rafiki'd by an old man. He never was like, Simba! And then, like, sent me off. That didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't either. The only bit of connection I can really have to the story is, I guess, the poetry he's written. Because in middle school, I also wrote bad poetry. And actually, the one that...
Riley, do you care to read some for us?
Please read your bad poetry.
I thankfully do not have any here in New York with me, so cannot do that.
What I'm hearing is that Vikki and I need to take a road trip to Riley's parents' house.
Yeah.
All right. No. But what was I saying? Oh, the one poem of his, or lines that the lieutenant reads him, the poem about being in like a greenless, treeless office and being depressed about it. In my 8th grade math class, I wrote a poem about a tree outside and how, like, sad I was that I had to be in fucking school and not outside in nature. So it was like a really weird parallel to something I had also written. But that's all I got.
I mean, it's interesting, like, when I went to performing arts, like, my mom was very, very supportive, my dad was always very supportive, but, you know, there's people out there who are like, you're going into the arts? What? Like, you're not gonna make any money, like, you should become an engineer or go into STEM. But what's interesting, and this is being recorded when we're all stuck in quarantine and, like, there's really nothing to do, the one thing so many people have been doing is watching TV shows, you know, just watching
reading,
movies,
listening to podcasts.
Yeah. It's like the arts has been really helpful to a lot of people in quarantine because it's like there's really nothing else. You know, you can't go to a bar, you can't go to a movie theater right now. Like, everything is just being done at home.
I mean, I would like to specify, you can go to a bar and you could probably find a movie theater. But it's illegal.
But you don't want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's crazy that people are like, you're gonna go into the arts, you're throwing your whole life away. And then this happens and they're like, well, let me imbibe the arts at an insane rate. And then, meanwhile...
What do you mean they can't record new shows during COVID?
Yeah, and then you get these fucking... people who are still like, but the arts are superfluous, they're not necessary, they're not essential, and it's like, fine, then sit at home
and do nothing.
Don't read
Literally
a book,
nothing.
Don't look at a magazine, don't look at pictures,
Don't listen to music,
don't listen to podcasts, don't watch your TV, don't, like, nothing. Sit and twiddle your thumbs, you prick.
Yeah.
Like, everything is artists.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess the other thing, you know, they were talking about computers, you know, going in and taking over. What's interesting is, I do feel in maybe like 30, 50 years, when we're all super old, there's going to be more computers, checking you out, maybe sending in a robot to, like, repair your computer, or, you know, you go to the doctor and you go on a touch screen and, like, you list what is wrong with you and they'll just hand you your medicine from there. You can't have that going into the arts, you know. The arts is so human that, like, you can't have technology really go in and do anything there.
Yeah. And it's... yeah. Also... The reason I started giggling when you were like, they talk about computers taking everything over, I want to be like, and this is recorded on a computer.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum!
Dun, dun, dun.
2 computers, technically, because I'm remote right now.
I mean, Riley, you've got 2 computers, so is it 3 computers?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh my god, there's as many computers involved in the production of this particular radio play than there are people involved in the radio play.
True. So, I guess I'm wrong. Computers have been taking over.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Skynet. Skynet, be kind. Riley, do you want to plug our social media?
Sure. So, as you all know, we have an Instagram account, Facebook page. I think we have a Twitter. We don't really use it, I don't
That's
think.
going to be changing here
But we
very
will
soon.
Yeah. So we're at Human Pincushion Productions on all of those. We have a YouTube channel where this will be uploaded, and we have our short screams and short films that get posted there. So go check us out and subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. And also subscribe to our Patreon if you like the content that we do and you would like to help us give more.
There's like a short film.
Jasmine just finished shooting Raven. They actually shot the final scene that they needed to shoot here yesterday. And the set looked nuts. It was lit like a day-glow nightmare. It was amazing. I'll have to show you guys after this. It was great. But yeah, that's coming out at the end of April. So stay tuned. Look at that. Check out that when that comes out. It's gonna be really good. And then we're about to start pre-production on Crossroads, which has Vikki in it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's gonna be fun. So we're doing that. So yeah, check out our Patreon. Check out our other short films. Check out Short Scream Season 2, which there's only 2 episodes in Season 2 so far, and we're taking a week or two absence because we just added a bunch of people to the company, and so is this whole thing. But we're going to be coming back with that
More
very soon.
inmates in the madhouse.
Yep. With higher quality, better content. Short Scream Season 2 is going to be really good. Check out, our short films, our other radio plays, and our creepypasta readings. And yeah, give us a like, comment, subscribe, stuff like that. Share us to your friends who like horror stuff. That's going to be great. And as always, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, bye guys.
Thank you. See you next month.
Bye.
Bye.